Greetings, my fellow freedom lovers and sovereign thinkers. This is LL3's News Podcast. My name is Craig, transmitting from the beautiful Beehive State, which is known as Utah. And today's date, Wednesday, September 30th, 2015. Yep. That's an airplane going by near a military base in the heart of Roy City, which is a half hour north of Salt Lake. And I just want to, just got a couple of things. I just took a little browse on the internet. Got a few things that got my attention. So, mostly a few things. I would say about a couple things. But, what the hell. I'm rambling at the moment. Forgive me. But it's one of the things that caught my eye. Actually came from RT.com, which is Russia's Today. Which is, of course, they said state funded, but I always say to everyone, observe responsibly, as I've always addressed that. However, it has an interesting article that came out today. It's entitled, Judge Tosses 9/11 Suit Against Saudi Arabia, Citing Sovereign Immunity. And let's just see what it reads here. A district court judge dismissed claims against Saudi Arabia that proved material support to Al-Qaeda ahead of the September 11, 2011 terror attacks, ruling that the country has sovereign immunity. In the aftermath of 9/11, some relatives, more than 3,000 deceased victims, sought billions of dollars in damages from countries, including the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, an organization accused of aiding Al-Qaeda and other terror groups carrying out the hijackings. In 2003, 9/11 Commission found there was no evidence that Saudi Arabia helped finance Al-Qaeda. And I will continue on here. It's got let's enlarge it. In 2005, U.S. District Court held that Saudi Arabia had the Saudi High Commission for Relief of Bosnia and Herzegovina, or SHC, were foreign country sovereigns immune from lawsuits under the Foreign Sovereign Immunities Act, or FISA. Ruling affirmed by Second Circuit Court in 2008, but for different reasons than Casey listed. However, the Second Court ruled its previous decision in December 2003, saying a legal exception existed and the circumstances were extraordinary. The plaintiffs then filed to reinstate Saudi Arabia and SHC as defendants in their suit. A second district court judge again dismissed the claims against the two defendants on Tuesday. The allegations in the complaint alone does not provide this court with the basis to assert jurisdiction over defendants. Judge George Daniels wrote in his ruling, dismissal of the complaint to Saudi Arabia and the SHC based on sovereign immunity is proper. The tortious conduct by Saudi Arabia and the SHC predominantly concerned torts committed abroad, he noted, to strip a presumption sovereign of immunity. Plain flying by again. The tortious conduct must be that of the sovereign itself, or of any official or employee of that foreign state while acting in the scope of his office or employment, Daniels wrote. Saudi prince planned to down Air Force One. Saudi princes planned. Let's read more. Okay, interesting stuff here on these claims. The plaintiffs have not alleged a tortious act or omission by Saudi Arabia or the SHC or any official or employee of either while acting in the scope of his office or employment that was committed in the United States. Instead, they claim that the acts were committed by the Saudi charity alter egos and for people acting on behalf of Saudi Arabia or the SHC. Daniels concluded that the alter egos were not acting in an official capacity. For one of the men, Abdul Rahman Hassanian, plaintiff cited his declaration that he was a Saudi government official, but Daniels refuted that claim, noting that only connection he had to the September 11, 2001 attacks was that he entered the U.S. 5 days beforehand and moved from his hotel to another where the 3 hijackers were staying. There's some interesting stuff here, and it goes here. Even if the courts were to assume that Hussein was a Saudi government official, there is no allegations, let alone evidence, that he assisted the hijackers within the scope of his employment or otherwise, the judge wrote. Likewise, Daniels similarly found that the other 3 men, Osama Banasan, Omar al-Bayoumi, and Fahad al-Domari, either did not assist the 9/11 hijackers or did not do so in an official government capacity. Yeah, this is very interesting because there has always been claims that there's a Saudi connection on the horrific events on September 11, 2001. And of course, if you heard my past shows, they're part of my view based on what I can say in good faith. They are in part of that one world order or new world order umbrella. As just my personal view. And of course, the 19 hijackers resided in Saudi Arabia. Due to I think it was really disturbing about the case. This is more like comforting the enemy. And I know Saudi Arabia had Idi Amin, who was the governor, the dictator of Uganda, who was responsible of murdering 300,000 Ugandans, are mostly Christians, from 1971 to 79. That was considered a hidden genocide. When Tanzania went in, the nation of Tanzania went in, he went there to exile. You can look it up yourself, and he recently passed around, I think it's 2002. Yeah, around 2002, 2003, he died in August. And of course, I did typed in with that link, Saudi Arabia has harbored a terrorist. So another thing too, I am going to add this to to this particular article. This article was 28pages.org, and what they've done here was it's supposed to be 28 pages that it was a claim that been classified by President Bush or the Bush administration on having that well hidden from the American people. So, and there was even claimed that there was a connection with Saudi Arabia or criminal elements within that nation that was involved with this horrific event. So, I would recommend folks to hit this website, which I'm going to add, take action to the Senate Bill 1471, House Resolution 14, to get this declassified. You can look it up yourselves. I did my petition. I have to sign it. Go there, do it again to let them know these papers got to be released. I'm not saying it won't be 100% to the core, but it will be a potential conspiratorial suspect, or there's a conspiracy behind this. And that's why they hate using that thing, call you conspiracy theorists. Conspiracy is more than one person involved in a criminal act, or act of war crime, it doesn't matter. But definitely add that link to it, 28pages.org, and you can take the initiative, look at it yourself, plus petition, send it to everyone you know, all right? So I'm going to be done with that. Next one here, which is really interesting, is that, one moment, just some time to get these confounded, like, pop up. Oh, they got these commercials, and you guys got to hear it on my show, which I find that ludicrous. This one here came from the Washington Times, and of course the whole Hillary Clinton email scandal continues, and this one's entitled Hillary Clinton emails increasingly classified, 1 in 20 messages contained secrets. All right, let's just see what he has to say here. This came out today. It's by S.A. Miller and Stephen Denon. All right, it says here more than 5% of the latest batches of emails from former Secretary of State Hillary Rodham Clinton released Wednesday contained classified information, twice the rate of the previous releases, raising trickery questions about whether the department is finding more secrets or being more through in screening the messages. Although there are at least 400 messages that contain information the government now deems classified out of nearly 12,000 emails released so far. But 214 of those messages came in the last batch of 3,869 messages for a classification rate of 5.5%. None of the messages were marked classified at the time they were sent, usually in 2012 or 2011 from the latest batch, but the government has gone back and determined they contain information that shouldn't be out in public. What? Up yours. Open information, chumps. Alright, continue on here. The State Department is making monthly releases of the emails as it complies with the court order to release more than 30,000 messages by the end of January. Mrs. Clinton kept the messages from public disclosure during her 4 years and for nearly 2 years afterward by using an account tied to a server she kept at her New York home rather than using standard state.gov account. Federal judge and the top department transparency official have both said Mrs. Clinton violated policy, but she has insisted what she did was not against the law. Oh yeah, I know even homeless hustler can outsmart Hillary Clinton's rhetoric at any time. But this is really seeing how far this is gonna go. I know people are still believe she's gonna win the presidency, but there's too much ammunition against her. Which is just another example. And I never was impressed by that woman since 1992 when she first popped out as husband of Bill Clinton, who ran for president. So I don't know why some people still believe she could be a great president. I could take a dump in the corner and to fertilize my lawn will do a lot better than her being the commander-in-chief. So yeah, this has been pretty slow, so sorry about that, like some of the relays. Truth of the matter is, like I told people, I vote for Hillary to go to prison. Of course, go through due process. Because this woman is nothing more than another globalist Angel Mama, as far as I'm concerned. She will never work for the American people, but work for the oligarchs and the rest of the one world order entourage. That'll be the best way I'll be saying that. Definitely. This is just another chapter, my friends. We'll just see how far this goes. But there's a lot of things that are happening. Just giving you some examples. Alright, well, we're gonna be hitting that came out of Broward, Palm Beach, New Times. This is local related. This is where I live, to be exact. And this one's entitled Fort Lauderdale Moves to Stop Alcohol Sales at 2 a.m. This is written by Fallon Freeman. And as it reads here, Fort Lauderdale bar owners this week were shocked to receive notice that the city will consider a measure on Tuesday whether to scale back late-night drinking in the city. Some owners of nightlife establishment were given a letter dated September 23rd from City Manager Lee Feldman, anti-freedom guy himself, explaining that a October 6th regularly scheduled commission meeting, city commissioners will consider amending current laws regulating alcohol sales. 2 amendments to current ordinances would effectively stop alcohol sales at 2 a.m. every night of the week. Currently, under Section 5-29 of the City Code of Ordinance, states the bars and restaurants must stop serving alcohol at midnight, unless they have a special extended hour permit, unless that allows them to serve alcohol from midnight to 2 a.m. weekdays and 3 a.m. on Saturdays and Sundays. Section 5-56, however, creates an exemption for businesses to be deemed late-night licensed establishments and serve alcohol until 4 a.m., with customers allowed to finish their drinks in the establishment until 4:30 a.m. All right, and it says here, but the proposed ordinance, a copy of which was enclosed with Feldman's letter, would amend the sales of alcohol beverages in the city. It changes at times that bars must stop serving to 2 a.m. every night of the week and completely strikes out exemptions for late-night establishments. And it says, and I'll continue on here, but I'm going to read that too. So several nightlife industry players contacted by New Times did not want to go on record until they knew more details, but worried that measures would kill the Himarshi district, known for its nightlife. They speculated that measures was prompt by new developers in town, or that it was drawn up forces changes at Beach Place on A1A. Beach Place has been plagued by drug and crime issues. City officials threatened to revoke its 4 a.m. license earlier this year. We've already been decimated once by the Hard Rock when they opened, said one business owner, who fears that proposed changes would wreak havoc on Fort Lauderdale's businesses by cordoning off their late-night crowds to the Seminole-owned Behemoth, which is located on the tribal land and stays open 24 hours. They have more money than God, and they'll win by default again. It's hard to imagine a change this dramatic going over well with Fort Lauderdale's local bibbers, or with party-seeking tourists who bolster the economy despite attempts to stamp out the city's eternal spring break image. The proposed ordinance will be discussed at the next City Commission meeting on Tuesday, October 6th at 6 p.m. at Fort Lauderdale City Hall, 100 North Andrews Avenue, Fort Lauderdale. Anyone waiting to speak at the meeting can sign with a member of the city clerk staff at the meeting. It is yet known when the measures may be finalized. Before the commission requires 2 separate readings before becoming law. It is true, so it may not be in effect that day, but people still speak their mind. You may have to go there for another 2 weeks to do it again, to get for those 2 readings, separate readings before it becomes law. So definitely people got to go out there and fight. And speaking of that, let's just read this bill. And it came out September 23rd to be exact, and it is reference. Let me see here. Boom. Yeah, I'm just going to do a quick transfer here. Yeah, that's better. Boom. All right. Let's go here. All right, it says here, reference, proposed ordinance amending the hours of sale of alcoholic beverages in the city of Fort Lauderdale. Deer, of course, wherever it is. One of those slope things. Be right back when I fix this. All right, I'm back. Sorry about that. And as it reads here, oops. Shoot. All right. As it reads here, dear, the purpose of this letter is to advise you that the City Commission will be considering ordinance amending the City of Fort Lauderdale Code of Ordinance to change the hours of sale, service, delivery, or public consumption of alcoholic beverages, beers, and wines within the City of Fort Lauderdale. The matter will be considered at the October 6, 2015 City Commission regular meeting. The meeting will begin at 6 p.m. and will be held at City Hall, 100 North Andrews Avenue, Fort Lauderdale, Florida, 33331. A copy of this proposed ordinance is enclosure for your information. If you wish to speak, you must sign in with a member of the city member of the city clerk staff at the meeting. If you have any questions regarding this, please contact me directly by phone, 954-828-5959, or by mail at lfeldman@fortlauderdale.gov. This guy's such a clown at times, you know. I'm gonna interject here because I remember the time when Occupy Fort Lauderdale had to try to do an injunction because they were like camping out at the city hall. And of course, Lee Feldman, he spoke. He was like lying to his teeth what the Occupy folks were doing, and people around us were laughing. I'm like hearing this guy. It's like a drama queen. And of course, one of the folks asked me, he's a liar? And I go, yeah, he's a union buster too. He goes, oh, really? And I told him what happened with the Wilmer moratorium. But I will continue on here. Of course, there's copies of that because he signed it. Oops. Yeah, it's just just some stuff here, you know, and well, you know, I have another way of doing my deed. We're just sorry about that. Looks like my computer is getting confoundedly slow. So, however, I got it right on my phone. And, of course, that's the first page. And the second page is blank with some copies. Sustainable development. Ah, interesting. Looks like some people are getting involved on here, huh? Interesting. Well, we just got to do a little more research here. And it says here, Ordinance C, number C15. It says here, an ordinance amending Chapter 5, Alcoholic Beverages of the Code of Ordinance of the City of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, amending Section 5-29, permitted hours of sales of consumption and service with the Section 5-56, alcoholic beverage sales within the district to change to the hours of sales, service, delivery of public consumption of alcoholic beverages, beer, and wines within the city of Fort Lauderdale, providing for severability and providing an effective date. How cute, right? And as it reads here, now there before it ordained by the City Commission of the City of Fort Lauderdale, Section 1, that Section 5-29, permitted hours of sales, consumption, and service of the City of Ordinance of the City Code of Ordinance of the City of Fort Lauderdale shall hereby amend to read as follows. Section 5-29, permit of hours, consumption, and service. B, permit required for premises to remain open past midnight. Suspension of permits. Permits required. All vendors licensed under the state beverage laws desiring to remain open for business for the purpose of selling, offering for sale, delivering, serving, or permitting consumption of alcoholic beverages between the hours of midnight and 2 a.m. on any, and it's all been crossed out, weekday, between all that, any day of the week shall make application with the Business Tax Division for extended hours for operation permit. So they want you to extend the hours for operation permit. So how much money does that cost? And then we'll continue on here, and all this crossed out. Subsection 2. The application shall be provided by the city. The vendor shall complete the application by providing the information requested about the vendor, including but not limited to the name and address where notices related to the section are to be mailed. Permit holders are required to amend the license application that's on file with the City of Fort Lauderdale within 30 days of any change in the information set forth in the application form. City manager or designee shall review the application, and if the application is complete, a permit shall be issued to the vendor to remain open between the hours of 12:01 a.m. and 2 a.m. any day of the week. So it's all been being altering here. Any day of the week. And it says here, Section 2, this section 5-56, alcoholic beverages sales with the district of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Fort Lauderdale shall here nearby amend to read as follows. Section 5-56, alcohol beverages sales within the district. Hours of operation. The hours during which sales, consumption, and service of alcoholic beverages, beer, and wines are prohibited within the district are set forth in Section 5-29 of the City Code. And a lot of the stuff's been crossed out. The rest of Section 2, so we hit Section 3. That any clause, section, or any part of this ordinance is held invalid or unconstitutional by any court of contempt jurisdiction. The reminder of this ordinance shall not be effect, but shall remain in full force and effect. Section 4, that all ordinances of part of this ordinance in conflict herewith be with the same are hereby repealed. Section 5, that this ordinance shall be in full force and effect 10 days from the date of final passage. So to have the first reading and the second reading. So it won't be on the 6th, okay, of October. It will be the 20th will be the second reading. I think it's every 2 weeks. So definitely, folks, this is totally absurd as far as I'm concerned, that the city knows best. And of course that Lee Feldman chap, I'm not impressed by him whatsoever. I'm not going to crucify him personally, but I've seen some of his, heard some of his rhetoric and so forth. He's just a man just giving advice, and he can overrule any other ordinance too. So, I mean, any other passages of ordinances as well. So this is, as far as I'm concerned, you got these clowns that got to go. All right, this is, my view, a form of neo-mercantilism, and it's interesting because when they talk about speculation of developers, going in there, because here's the thing: if you go on Fort Lauderdale Beach, all right, they're building stuff there, high rises, luxurious pigeonholes, which is worth maybe $250,000 to $1 million, and it's totally ridiculous, and it's really destroying the beaches as well. And I'm for property rights and all that, but think about this. It's like we'll just do our version of eminent domain, allegedly speaking, our version of eminent domain. Doing it, going through the grapevines. They don't want to see the small people do well, and based on this, what's their motive? Protect the public's interest. I'll tell you this: they can't even take care of their own damn buildings. How many of you folks in Fort Lauderdale ever visit the Wilmore Wilmore Auditorium, which is a city-run building? Go on the stage when you go to the gun shows and so forth. Look at the lines. You should always look at the fly rails, okay? Where all the hemp rope, that's totally outstretched. If I remember, one of the line sets is not allowed to be used anyway because it's considered unsafe. In addition, there's asbestos and dust on the pipes themselves, the battens, and the grid as well. So I'll tell you this to those knuckleheads in the city of Fort Lauderdale that wants to push for this: you can't even take care of your own damn buildings. Until you do, then you may have more merit on getting the people how things should be run, but you can't even clean your own behinds or take care of your own territory. So with all due respect, I recommend you just shut this down. You're just blowing smoke. And another thing too, it's going to hurt tax revenue. And in addition, even the off-duty police officers, they go there to patrol, but to keep the peace in the area. You're gonna put them out of business as well, or hurt their livelihood. That's what you're doing, Lee Feldman. Okay, this is actually on your signature. That's why. That's your signature. And if I'm correct, you may have authored this. You know what? If you did, to hell with you. Get the hell out of Fort Lauderdale. Don't even become city manager. Right now you're contaminating space, just like the other clowns. Some of the clowns are in there. And here's another thing too. Mayor John Jack Seiler. Yes, I am critical of him at times. He's running for governor of Florida in 2018. He already made a black eye in the city of Fort Lauderdale of supporting food distribution towards the homeless, arresting people and citing them, and they have to go to court and all that. Okay? So this chap does support victimless crime laws, and this would be another nail in the coffin for him if he pushes for this. So I recommend everyone to see Fort Lauderdale start calling them up, emailing and going down there on this. Because it's called, these folks here, how I'm looking at it, this is nothing more than more regulation, which they could tell you guys how to do it, and they can't even take care of themselves. So you know what? You go down and you fight these bastards. All right, and don't get me wrong, I know some of the commissioners may be against this too. Okay, and I'll say that out of respect. I'm not going after everybody, but you got to really call these people out. So definitely go out there, push for this, support your bars. I don't care if you don't buy booze or not. All right. Of course, you're gonna have problems. It's always gonna be like that. Hey, some guy one of the parking attendants got stabbed there like on Memorial Day weekend a few years ago. Let's say in broad daylight. You're gonna shut the whole place down? And even at night, you got your clowns. You know what? It's gonna hurt them. It's gonna hurt the city of Fort Lauderdale in their pocket. We're gonna put more luxurious buildings up there. Forget about it. Your multi-million-dollar wet dream, that's all it is, won't succeed. So definitely, folks, fight this. And any of the commissioners that are listening to the show, if you know it, petition against it, because I gotta send my memo in there as well to let them know this is nothing more than a farce. So push for this, fight for it. This is your city. And one more thing to the people of Fort Lauderdale. What got me really disturbed was only a 7.5% voter turnout on the last election. That's unacceptable. You folks have obligations. So don't complain and do nothing, because you're part of the problem, not the solution. All right. Enough me venting on this. But I was pretty assertive, I would say. All right, next one here. This is very comical. Not comical, but very interesting here. This one just came out as well by the Tampa Tribune. This is Crimes in Courts. It says here, gun carry fisherman detained at Ballast Point Park sues city and police. This is by Elaine Salvestrini. And as it reads here, a Polk County man says he was exercising his right to openly carry a gun while fishing at Ballast Point Park in June when police detained him. George Freeman, a member of a group called Florida Carry, was participating in the organization's monthly event held around the state in which members strap on guns and go fishing, sometimes handing out leaflets to inform the people of the law. Although it is generally illegal to openly carry a gun in Florida, there are times when that is allowed, including when fishing, hunting, camping, or on the way to or from one of those activities. Freeman and Florida Carry are suing the city and the Tampa Bay Police Department. The suit says Freeman's constitutional rights were violated when people detained him for more than an hour after police say Alarmed park patrons report seeing a man with a gun. Oh my goodness. I don't know where these folks are from. They're probably from the land of Big City, known as Underdog. Their Lord and Savior and Sweet Pie Purebred is their shepherd. And we could proceed. Although a city official apologized for the incident, Freeman is also seeking money and an injunction preventing police from running serial numbers and lawfully owned firearms without reasonable suspicion of a crime. Bingo! Freeman's lawsuit said Open Carry notified city officials of the planned monthly event in advance and was advised by an attorney for the police department that it wasn't necessary to inform city because police were aware of the law. On June 13th, Freeman had one gun openly worn in the shoulder holster and was carrying another gun concealed on his belt. He was allowed to allowed with his concealed weapons permit, according to a lawsuit initially filed in Hillsborough Circuit Court and moved by the city to federal court. Wow. How come it got to be in federal court? It should have been done right there in state court. Cowards. According to an official investigation report, a witness told police that a few people left the park because they were afraid after seeing Freeman openly wearing his gun. Oh my goodness, that's what happens when I'm from those big cities. I have a police state. I watch the Church of Hollywood and watch those pathetic TV shows like Law and Order. I know a lot more than you, but I'm through ignorant about the laws in my own state. Freeman baited his hook and cast his line into the water from the pier when an officer approached him from behind, the suit states. Without warning, without identifying himself, without any legal basis, one of the defendant officers suddenly grabbed an attempt to steal Freeman's openly carried firearm, the lawsuit says. Only as Freeman began to react to the threat of his firearm, he did observe that the thief was a law enforcement officer. See, I want to tell you something to those chumps in Tampa, the police officers that are involved. You don't take someone's gun and think you can do what you want because you have a badge. You got to go by those same laws. And I will continue on here. Freeman cooperated with the officer and when asked if he had any other guns, told him about the concealed gun, which police also took, along with his cell phone, wallet, and keys, the lawsuit states. The officers looked through his phone, including his contact list and GPA data. According to the complaint, can we say Article 1, Section 12 of the state constitution? It should have been a little bit better than that. I'll continue on. The investigation report says police located the concealed gun while patting Freeman down. When Freeman tried to tell officers about the law, one police officer says, I don't want to hear this crap. The lawsuit says, well, allegedly, if he says that, he needs a penile microphone. Yes, I'll say that to that cop. If you said it, you deserve a penile microphone in your mouth. And you can mumble all you want. The same, if he said it. Police took him to their patrol car and asked if he had any other guns. When Freeman told them that he had a third gun in his car, they used his keys to remove the lawsuit says. Truth, justice, and the good Tuesdays way don't work. The lawsuit says the police illegally ran the serial numbers for the gun, asked Freeman why he was carrying two guns, and repeatedly threatened him with arrest, telling him this wasn't the Wild West. Where are you guys from? New York, Chicago, or Los Angeles? Florida's a different territory, so watch that tongue and keep your police state mentality somewhere else. After detaining Freeman for more than 70 minutes, police released him and returned his guns in envelopes with no ammunition, the lawsuit says. They issued him trespass warnings, telling him he had not to come to Ballast Point Park for a year and not to go to other city parks and public property for 180 days. Can we say judge, jury, and executioner? Yeah, hi, my hero, I worship Judge Dredd. He can do whatever he wants, so can I. According to the investigation report, Freeman told officers he had recently joined an open carry group online and had gone to the park to meet with someone from the group and fish. He said he had no intention to harm anyone, but just wanted to express his right to open carry a firearm while fishing. He got his concealed carry permit late last year and just started to expressing his rights, the police report states. About a week later, the trespass notice was rescinded. In a letter to Freeman, attorney Kirby Rainsberger, a legal advisor to the police department, apologized for any inconvenience caused to you by this incident and added, additional training is being provided to the officers to ensure similar instances do not occur. No, what you do, counsel, is give them the damn laws. Okay? Give them the damn laws right there. Tell them to look it up themselves. They have obligations also. Although police spokeswoman Andrea Davis says she couldn't comment on the pending lawsuit, she acknowledged after the incident, she told the website guns.com that was happened on an error on the officer's part. Lawyer Eric Friday, who represents Florida Carrier and Freeman, said the trespass notice was rescinded only after Florida Carrier posted an item on the internet asking for donations to fund the planned lawsuit against the city over the incident. Beautiful. Friday said Florida Carrier holds events through the state on the second Saturday of every month. The events are usually in Tampa, Jacksonville, Daytona, and Fort Myers, as well as South Florida and occasionally in Orlando. And the events can range in size from 2 to 3 people, as many as 50 in one location. He said the Tampa events are usually, but not always, at Ballast Point Park. Friday said Florida is one of the 5 states I don't generally permit the open carry of guns, something Florida Carry hopes to change with the bill pending before the legislature. Florida is also appealing a ruling earlier this year by the 4th District Court of Appeal to upheld the ban on openly carrying firearms. Friday said the law has allowed open carry of guns while fishing since 1987, but there wasn't generally known until around 2009 when gun owners started asserting their rights. Asked why fishing is included in the law, Friday said, have you ever fished in backwater areas of the state? He said there are alligators and poison snakes and other dangerous wildlife that fishermen need to be able to defend against. Bingo! Go down to Flamingo, man. You find some by the Florida Bay. You could probably see some or confront saltwater crocodiles. Friday acknowledges those dangers aren't generally present at Ballast Point Park. I would not expect an alligator at Ballast Park, he said, but the same, we have a right to carry firearms. We have the right to openly carry while hunting, fishing, and camping. The lawsuit also says the reasons the officers ran the gun serial number was for the purpose of creating a record of firearms owned by Freeman. See, right there, incrimination. One moment here. Incrimination. The creation of firearm registration list is expressly prohibited by Florida law, the lawsuit states. There you go. Private. It's none of your damn business. Article 1, Section 23 of the state constitution. Right to privacy. That's the only reason why I could think out of the run of the serial numbers for I said they had no reason to believe the guns were stolen. There was nothing more than a fishing expedition by the police department. I have to say, win this lawsuit, shame them in good faith. And you know what? They apologize. So they already incriminated themselves. As far as I'm concerned, they need to write an open letter to the city of Tampa, at the next Tampa City Commission, and have it in this newspaper on both Tampa Bay Tribune and Tampa Bay Times, an open apology. They have no right, in good faith, to make this happen. It was totally unnecessary. You violate this man's rights, which, of course, the 2nd, the 4th, the 5th, the 9th, and of course, of the U.S. Constitution, and of course, Article 1, Section 2, 8, and 23 of the Florida Constitution. So you got U.S. and Florida Constitutions, they violate it. All right? Article 1, Section 23, right to privacy. And don't forget, Article 1, Section 12, too. Legal search and seizures. Unwarranted search. So you know what? If those cops don't like it, tough. because your actions were unacceptable. And this is not going after the police in general, my friends. There's only individuals like them who chose poorly and wasted taxpayers' money. The people in Tampa should be calling these folks out as well. And this is what's funny, because about the whole open carry law, the attorney is right on this. And it's like it says here, for the open carry is not a traditional open carry state. Open carry is lawful while engaged in or directly to and from lawful target, shooting, hunting, fishing, and camping expeditions, which is Florida Statute 790.25, subsections 3, H, J, and K. It's from opencarry.org, and let's read that ordinance. Let's read it. Okay, and we'll go here. It says here the provisions of Statute 790.73 and 790.06 do not apply in the following instance, and despite such sections, it is lawful for the following persons to own, possess, and lawfully use firearms and other weapons, ammunition, and supplies for lawful purposes. And it says here in G. Is it G? No, not G. It's H. A person engaged in fishing, camping, or lawful hunting, or going to return from a fishing, camping, or lawful hunting expedition. And of course, it says J, a person firing weapons for testing or target practice under safe conditions in a safe place not prohibited by law, or going to from such place. And K, a person firing weapons in a safe and secure indoor range for testing and target practice. Okay, so you got there, subsection J, a person. H on camping. So fishing. So you know what? That's all it says on there. So I'm going to add those 2 extra links to this story as well, so you folks can really look at it yourselves. That's why people got to start learning your laws, learning your rights. Don't be a yes person. You're not some field peasant or house peasant. You are a natural-born individual, and your rights are inalienable. Even though we got some of these little funky laws, including Florida, but a lot of states have theirs as well. Pros and cons, but exercise them little by little. Knowledge is power. Ignorance is enslavement. Okay? So I believe he will win this case. I'm expecting, if they're smart, do a settlement. And I do recommend the 2 police officers write a written apology. They have to address at the city meetings and have the press live footage on this, on the video stream, so anyone can get a copy of it, including having an open page apology to the Tampa Bay Times and the Tribune. So you know what? You officers need to repent for your carelessness. And I say that in good faith. I'm critical, but fair as well. All right, finally, this is really interesting. Came from downtrodden.com. And it says here, 14 people shot in 15 hours has Chicago's Mayor Rahm Emanuel calling for more gun control. This is written by Brian Anderson, the Albano Gonzo of mayors. If you've ever seen the Muppets have Gonzo and look at Rahm Emanuel like straight, it's really hilarious, okay? It says here, here's what he had to say. You'd think if gun control was effective at reducing crime in Chicago, would be the safest place on the planet. The blue state of Illinois has some pretty tough gun laws, and the city of Chicago goes even further in restricting people's gun ownership rights. But for some strange reason, these restrictions don't make the Windy City safe. 14 people were shot in 15 hours on Monday, and naturally, Mayor Rahm Emanuel blames the lack of gun control for the carnage because liberals think if something doesn't work, you should keep doing it anyways. Yeah, here it says here, Chicago Tribune reports on the unchecked violence in the gun control mecca. 6 people were killed, at least 8 were wounded, including an 11-month-old boy and a 2-year-old boy during a bloody start to the week in Chicago that saw 10 of the victims shoot at 2 scenes less than 3 miles apart on the south side. Keep in mind, this is just the shootings that took place in about a half day. The city is an absolute war zone despite all the unconstitutional restrictions on gun ownership. The burst of violence follows 2 straight weekends with more than 50 people were shot in Chicago, but that's the first time that has happened on back-to-back weekends over 4 years. The Tribune has been tracking shootings. In August, more than 40 were shot on 4 consecutive weekends. But wait, it gets worse. So far this year, at least 2,300 people have been shot in Chicago, and about 400 more than during the same period last year, according to Tribune analysts. Through Sunday, homicides have risen 359 up to 21 from 296 a year earlier, according to the preliminary data from Chicago police. So what does the mayor think about this epic level of violence? Well, it is time that our criminal justice system and the laws as it relates to access to guns and penalties for using them reflected the values of people of the city of Chicago, Emanuel said. How much more can Chicago or Illinois restrict people's legal access to guns? No. Actually, here's a better question. How would a new law restrict the access of firearms? Hold on here. Gotta do those. There. That's better. There's too many delays here, as usual. It says here, how would a new law restrict the access of firearms for people who obtain them through illegal means? It ain't lack of gun control that's causing all these shootings in Chicago. If the criminal justice system is also partially top blame, Emanuel needs to look in the mirror. Better enforcement and prosecution are things he can actually control, but violence just keeps escalating under his tenure. He is the second term, and he isn't doing a damn thing to make the city safer. As for values of people of the city of Chicago line, if the people of Chicago had values, they wouldn't be running around shooting 11-month-old babies. The city has tried strict gun control and hasn't worked to reduce the crime or violence. A reasonably intelligent person can see that restricting law-abiding people's access to firearms doesn't stop criminals from legally obtaining guns. Chicago doesn't have a gun problem. They have an intelligence problem with their leaders. Ooh. Bravo, my brother. Bravo. I liked what he said. Oh, that's a bang for your buck, my friends. Yeah, I really like that. And this is so funny about Illinois and Chicago. You know, it's like Illinois, Chicago, wherever, state or city, don't matter. Are they completely stupid? Or blatantly ignorant would be the word. Okay, because they hate their own constitution as well. So let's just check in here observantly under the Illinois Constitution, and it says here, let's look at Article 1, Bill of Rights, which the city of Chicago, the so-called servants, the elected servants, that believes Article 1 of the state constitution is worth toilet paper. Why is that? Because they believe their lawyers and their so-called gods and goddesses or masters, which in reality they're just servants, think that you folks in Chicago are blatantly stupid. All right, let's just read this here. Article 1, Bill of Rights, and I'm just gonna, let me just open this up here. Yeah, let's just read that. Bill of Rights. Well, shall we? Nah, fuck, screw that. Let's just read this. As it reads, Article 1, Bill of Rights, Section 1, Inherited and Inalienable Rights. All men are by nature free and independent, and have certain inherited and inalienable rights, among which are life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. To secure these rights and the protection of property, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. Okay? And of course, due process and equal protection, which is Section 2. No person shall be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor be denied the equal protection of the laws. Hey, Rami, are you paying attention? And we just keep on going down here. I believe they do have a right to bear arms. Because I've read this a few times. I should have actually did my memo on it. But is this really hilarious when you got these folks believe that they are smarter than their own oath, right? Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, yeah. And it says here, let's keep on going. Yep, and just gotta keep on going down here. And I do apologize, but I just gotta laugh. I laugh about Chicago. And don't be wrong. There's some beautiful people out there, man. Yeah, awesome folks out there. You know. And wait, let's go here. Section 20. Individual dignity. To promote individual dignity, communications that portray criminality, depravity, or lack of virtue in that incite violence, hatred, abuse, or hostility toward a person or group of persons by reason or by reference to religious, racial, ethnic, national, or regional affiliation are condemned. Yeah. Okay. So, you can't really just violate their space. But look at here. Section 22. Subject only to the police power, the right of individual citizen to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Rami, could you explain that to me? Could you explain that to the people why you want to ignore this particular section as well? Because you claim that the Chicago should revolve around you. What a wet dream you have, my friend. And we can go here. Section 23, Fundamental Principles. A frequent recurrence to the fundamental principles of civil government is necessary to preserve the blessings of liberty. These blessings cannot endure unless the people recognize their corresponding individual obligations and responsibilities. So the people have these duties, and the civil government has to honor it. Well, Rahm Emanuel doesn't do that, and I'm just wondering if the city council in Chicago and the police chief does the same thing. And we can hit Section 24. Rights retained. The enumeration in this Constitution of certain rights shall not be construed to deny or disparage others retained by the individual citizens of the state. The Ninth Amendment, my friends. So, Chicago, the political figures in Chicago gotta support the citizens to defend themselves, families, and loved ones. Here's the thing, Chicago. The police aren't obligated to protect you. Just look up sovereign immunity and tort liability in the state of Illinois. You're not, even if you call the police, if you get injured, you cannot sue them whatsoever. Or even if they're in the corner hiding, you cannot sue them for protecting you. Look it up. I put this out there enough times. So, my friends in Chicago, do yourselves a favor. Exercise your rights completely. Don't be afraid of these individuals, including Gonzo Emanuel himself. Yes, I am a critic of this man. I was never impressed by him as chief of staff. As far as I'm concerned, he is not more than a tyrannical stooge based on his merits, which they're none. So, like I said before, Action speaks louder than words, Chicago. They need you more you need them. And this is it, my friends. Thank you for listening. Plus, feel free to download and share this throughout your social media network. If you have any questions, comments, compliments, criticism, love letters, hate letters, or you want to send me something that's interesting that I may catch my eye, always use decorum. You can hit me on Facebook, Twitter, Google+, Spreaker, send your comments to iHeartRadio, or YouTube. Or feel free to email me at lokiluck3@gmail.com. Once again, thank you for your time. Plus, always remember that demoniac resistance is healthy for the soul and can liberate humanity. Until next time, take care of yourselves, keep on spreading love, and may your guardian spirits be with you.